the other thing cloud has done, of course, is enabled line of business or anyone in your team to purchase a whole range of applications, which has changed the dynamic again, isn't it? And a number of the discussions we've had today has been about the changing control dynamic within IT. Presumably that's changed just the way your organisations, the way you lead now, because collaboration is the obvious one to pick on, isn't it? Some people want Slack, other people want Teams, other people want Skype. You probably have to support all of them, do you?
Right. Officially or unofficially.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of the problems you have to deal with, because if I want to call you, if I can call you by 4 different methods which work different ways, and some of them require a headset, and some of them come through the computer, and some of them require a phone, and some of them require an actual phone, which I haven't seen for a while now. But you can really confuse people as to what's the way, the best way to communicate as a group. And the thing that changes definitely is how do teams work more efficiently. So getting people off email into that sort of Slack-like structure or Teams-like structure. Teams as in Teams the product. Yeah. You see a marked change if you can get people to engage in that model, and it is a much more effective way for a team, as in the people, for them to actually work together, especially when you have teams globally distributed across many regions, and possibly it's a good way to standardise your communication.
Yeah, it is. We started using RingCenter actually, and it's great because the way Cancer Central is made up, we're being built by the community, and CSR and donated hours. So none of us work for the same organisation. Right. So I think collaboration across different types of organisations and having that facility to be able to just quickly IM or you around, can I video call you, has made such a big difference. I've noticed, just even in this part of the journey. But again, going back to small enterprise, which one do you use? How do you use it? And I'm seeing and I'm hearing a lot of we've implemented a certain product, but I don't know how to use it or how we should go with it. So I think what's happening as well is we're making it available, but we're not actually talking about best use or how to use it, and therefore it's not being adopted by some areas because they're nervous and they're not sure. I mean, I don't know if you're seeing that.
Definitely. I mean, there's a large global Office product. So often we do get the question, well, which bit should I use for which? And we say, well, it's up to you, because actually the flexibility is there within the tools that are available to do what you want to do. If you want to share in a small group, use this. If you want to work in a team, you can use this. If you want to work fairly traditionally and you want a library of data, then you can do this. The whole point is you can find it because you've got the search capability there. I mean, we've done all the obvious things. We've put in help desk, we've put in tools, we've put in intranet sites with training and all the rest of it. Some get it, some don't. And the question is, you mentioned about control earlier, do we want to control that? So do we want to control how many teams get set up? Because it might be a lot of admin or something like that. Well, probably not, because at the end of the day, you're just controlling it because you think you want to control it. The power is for the greater value is in actually just getting the product used a lot. Because it's not cheap.
And the control factor is obviously important, just from data security and related topics, but also you guys have made an investment in a technology. The adoption's low or zero or wrong, and people go off as individuals taking on various products, applications and so on that you're not aware of. That then goes viral, and everybody as teams, they say, I'm using this tool, let's use this tool, we can collaborate better. And all of a sudden you have corporate data, intellectual property, conversations going through technologies that you haven't invested in, you don't control, you can't measure and so on.
That will be one aspect of control that we have been able to do. So if we're introducing new capabilities, so we're quite aggressive on Dropbox, for example, even at senior levels in the organization. If we see it, we kind of we call them in for some personal coaching, because that's not where we want to be. And we have adequate products that do the same thing now. Now, over the years, that hasn't necessarily been the case. Other products have been really good, and we don't have anything as good. But once you get to a certain level, you can then start to exercise control on things you particularly don't want.
Right.
So that's I'm less worried about the control of the environment of the Office product, but I am saying, okay, that is the area. That's definitely not.
Right.
So you can start to draw some boundaries.
And at least knowing they exist, you know, one of the things we see very regularly when we're talking to our customers with various visibility and monitoring tools is we get asked to put our solutions in place to help them get analytics and so on and data about their applications and performance and so on. But the biggest thing that almost always happens is when they see the list of applications that users are using either on their official enterprise estate or off. And that's the biggest shock. And I think that's where the biggest value comes with the point around data visibility and monitoring. Firstly, knowing what's there. And then you can make reasonable decisions around, that's official, that's unofficial, this is a grey area which will allow, and maybe you don't have to support and so on.
So it sounds like cloud computing has raised expectations, but actually the excessive amount of choice has actually caused some confusion all the way through the organisation. Would that be a fair analysis?
I would absolutely agree with that, and I think in our roles it's almost like we're expected to understand every single tool that comes out and changes and all the new features and what's appropriate for which particular thing, and actually trying to keep up ourselves to be able to advise and everything else. It is quite a challenge in itself, let alone if that's not your role.
Right.
It's like, by the way, we're asking you to keep up with all this stuff and work in a different way, which you probably haven't done before. Some people, as you said, will absolutely jump at it, and other people just not at all. So it has been quite complex, but exciting at the same time.
The one thing you were talking earlier about the cloud computing, so startups, and you can do this and you have the flexibility. What we found in a corporate environment with the Azure platform is you can spin up databases, you can add the capabilities, you get the platform services, and you can try out things, and particularly for data analytics and those sorts of things, and that works well. And you saw some of that in Portobello, I think, before as well, in terms of IoT impact and those sorts of things. The kind of downside of that is that you get an enterprise culture around it, which is, okay, I've done that, I've got that, well, I'll just leave it there, because the cost structure that I had before was in a data center on premise. Mm-hmm. And once we'd invested in it, if the space was there, well, then the space was there. Yeah. In a cloud context, the charging models are different. So you have to exercise then different control points, if you like, from an oversight. So you talk about monitoring. That's where the monitoring piece comes in interest to us, because have the behaviors of the people who've done that and used and done some citizen development, has that been for the good or for the bad in the long run? So there's some new things that we're having to look at there.